Happened today. So Somali stated she wanted Johnny Somali to be punished, and that's a very important statement. So if she'd gone in there and said, no, I don't want him to be punished, or no, I don't care at all, that would have been a problem for this. But
things aren't looking too good after all for him. So now he's still facing a maximum of 12 and a half years in Korean prison for what he did.
with today's testimony was asked that second count with Bong Bong, where they showed a picture of her making out with, kissing Johnny Somali, and Johnny Somali also stating, hey, this is my Korean girlfriend.
Let me show you my girlfriend. Bong Bong IRL, this is my girlfriend.
The smile is finally gone from Johnny Somali's face. For months, he treated South Korea like his personal playground, mocking their history, harassing their people, and breaking their laws for content. But yesterday, February 11th, reality hit him like a freight train. He walked into a Seoul courtroom facing a maximum of 12 years in prison. The days of sorry not sorry are over. Today, we are breaking down the closed-door trial that just happened, the betrayal of his so-called friends, and why this might be the end of his streaming career forever.
All right, so Johnny Somali just had another court hearing today, or just a few hours ago. And the biggest thing that came out of this one is we thought that Johnny actually had a win in his legal battle, like about 4 months ago, when he convinced Youngman to drop the charges against him. So then he lost one of the deepfake charges. And one deepfake charge can carry up to 8 years in prison over there in South Korea. One of those charges were dropped, or we thought so, until today we found out they officially haven't been dropped yet. So there's now a new prosecutor on the case, and for some reason, she hasn't dropped them. So things aren't looking too good after all for him. So now he's still facing a maximum of 12 and a half years in Korean prison for what he did.
Before we get into the trial, you might be asking, where has Johnny been since his last hearing in October? Is he in jail? No, he is currently out on bail, living in limbo. He is stuck in Korea, banned from leaving the country, and he's been crashing at his friend Hank's apartment. But don't let that fool you. In Korea, there is a saying, the process is the punishment. He is bleeding money on lawyers, he can't go home, and he wakes up every day knowing he might spend the next decade in a foreign prison. He is free, but he is trapped.
So the background is the last trial was on October 29th. It's been quite a while since his last trial. Once again, in Korea, the process is the punishment. He is not in jail pending trial. He's out. He's living, still staying with Hank in his apartment.
Now, to understand why this trial is so important, you need to know the players. First, there's Hank. Hank isn't just a roommate, he's an accomplice. He was part of the deepfake videos, and he's currently hiding in the shadows, hoping Johnny doesn't drag him down too. And then there's Bong Bong. Johnny tried to claim she was his Korean girlfriend to justify his actions. He posted photos kissing her, claiming they were in a relationship, just to cover up the fact that he was exploiting her for views. But yesterday, Bong Bong walked into that courtroom not as a girlfriend, but as a victim who wants justice.
Girlfriend. You want to see my girlfriend? Look at this. I have a Korean girlfriend. I don't know why you guys want to attack me. Even I have a Korean girlfriend. She's a streamer. Bong Bong IRL, this is my girlfriend. I have a girlfriend. This is my girlfriend. Bong Bong IRL.
The first major update from the trial is bad news for Johnny. The court has appointed a new female prosecutor who is taking a very aggressive stance against these deepfake crimes.
Well, today's trial in Seoul, South Korea had one witness, Bong Bong, a female streamer, a bit controversial herself, but we also had a new prosecutor that is a female. So there's a new female prosecutor. Once again, when you're dealing with deepfake charges, particularly one that's against a woman, a lot of these things do end up playing out. And you can see we had a situation where the deepfake charges for Youngman, another Korean streamer, the second charge of deepfakes, haven't been dropped yet, and perhaps it's because this prosecutor is not very friendly to the case of Johnny Somali. So we're going to look at that today.
This is critical. Johnny is used to manipulating people, but you can't manipulate a prosecutor who sees you as a predator. She isn't buying his "it was just a joke" defense. She sees a foreigner coming into her country and sexually exploiting women for clicks, and honestly, she's right.
With today's testimony was asked that second count with Bong Bong, where they showed a picture of her making out with, kissing Johnny Somali, and Johnny Somali also stating, hey, this is my Korean girlfriend.
Let me show you my girlfriend. Bong Bong IRL, this is my girlfriend. I have a Korean girlfriend. Why are you attacking me?
But then, the truth came out. Bong Bong took the stand and destroyed that narrative. She explicitly stated she wants him punished. She's right.
Happened today. So Somali stated she wanted Johnny Somali to be punished, and that's a a very important statement. So if she'd gone in there and said, no, I don't want him to be punished, or no, I don't care at all, that would have been a problem for this. But she went out and got out that statement, which is perhaps the strongest thing we have going from Bong Bong. Now, her testimony was not rock solid. She made a little bit of waffling in her testimony.
This is the nail in the coffin. When the victim stands up in court and says, I want him to pay for what he did, your defense is over. Johnny thought he could charm or bully her into silence, but he failed. But here is where Johnny showed his true colors, and honestly, it's the most pathetic defense strategy I've ever seen. Instead of taking responsibility, his legal team decided to launch a character assassination on the victim. They stood up in court and argued that because Bong Bong creates adult content on platforms like OnlyFans or Discord, she is somehow incapable of feeling shame or humiliation from a deep fake video. Essentially, they are saying she sells content so we can steal her face and do whatever we want with it.
Also claiming Bong Bong never felt shame ever. So that's a big one. Brought up her OnlyFans and adult materials that are posted on her Discord. Once again, Discord, not exactly public, right? So it's a little bit different than showing something to an audience on YouTube or on Kick. That's people that are or aren't part of that community. Something like an OnlyFans or Discord, you got to sign up for it. You got to get into it. It's not exactly the same thing. Those are moderated.
This is a classic low-life move, trying to slut shame a victim to save your own skin. Let's be clear, there is a massive difference between consensual content a woman chooses to make and a non-consensual deepfake made to mock her. Johnny is weaponizing her career to justify his crime. It's not a legal defense, it's an attempt to bully a victim into silence, and it shows he views women as objects, not people. Now, look at the difference in attitude. Young Man, the other streamer involved, has already submitted 7 apology letters to the court begging for mercy. Johnny Somali, he has submitted 0, not a single word of regret.
Let's compare the difference between Youngman and Somali. Youngman, who is Korean, has submitted 7 apologies in his case. And remember, he still got that same deepfake charge. 7 apologies. Somali has not submitted a single apology letter. He has not apologized at all so far. That is a big deal in the Korean court system, and that is massive for the adjudication of this case. And the fact that his deepfake charge has not been dropped really gives us a chance that they could be hit with both of them.
In the South Korean legal system, showing sincere remorse isn't just a courtesy, it's a legal necessity. Judges there look for what they call a letter of reflection. It's a chance for the defendant to show they understand their mistake. But Johnny's ego is so massive, so incredibly bloated, that he flat out refuses to apologize. He is literally gambling with 12 years of his life because he's too proud to pick up a pen and simply say, I am sorry. Think about the insanity of that. While any rational person would be doing everything to avoid a decade in a foreign prison, Johnny is still acting like he's the main character in a movie. He still genuinely believes he's the victim of a racist system rather than the perpetrator of a crime. By staying silent and refusing to submit even one apology letter, he isn't being brave or real. He's proving to the judge that he has 0 respect for the law, 0 respect for the culture, and 0 respect for the people he's hurt. He is practically inviting the court to give him the maximum sentence. The closing arguments are in mid-March, with sentencing likely in April, but this is bigger than just one streamer. If Johnny Somali walks free with just a fine, it sends a green light to every toxic creator. You can go to a foreign country, ruin lives, break laws, and get away with it.
Closing arguments, they originally were talking about mid-March. So we're talking about maybe sometime 15th, 16th, 18th, 19th, 20th, something like that. If that's the date, typically what happens is 2 weeks after is sentencing. So let's say it was something like the 15th, then we could get something like a late March sentencing. But if we're getting into a little bit later dates, we're getting something like the 18th, 19th, 20th, something like that, then we're going to look at April. So we might have an April sentencing for Johnny Somali. So
he is a cultural virus. If he isn't stopped in Korea, he will just move to the next country, Thailand, Vietnam, wherever, and repeat the cycle. He monetizes hatred and harassment. If the justice system doesn't set an example now, they are practically validating his business model for the next generation of clout chasers. The clock is ticking toward April. Do you think Johnny Somali belongs in a Korean prison, or will he find a way to snake out of this? To his supporters, is this really the guy you want to represent your community? Someone who blames victims and refuses to apologize? Let me know in the comments. We'll be tracking this until the final verdict. Like and subscribe for the update. See you in the next one.